with ideas. I just wanted to do things that people recognize with a southern bent to it, and just good home cooking, you know.
And in terms of the stuff you make, though, you specialize in a couple of things, which I think knocked my socks off. The first thing we were talking about off the air, your Reuben sandwiches. You know, who would have thunk a gas station in Candler has great Reuben sandwiches? What's the secret behind the great Reuben sandwich?
Well, a lot of cheese and a lot of love. You know, we cook the corned beef soft there ourselves. That Reuben's kind of styled after this Reuben that was available at an Irish pub I used to hang out at a lot in Annapolis. And they made theirs the same way, sort of chopping it up and big and sloppy. To me, a Reuben really needs to run down your arm.
I love it, and it is chopped up, and it's a big sandwich, though.
It's quite large.
I mean, I think all your sandwiches are not going to go away hungry, I think,
No,
after
I
you
hope not. Yeah.
leave places. The Reuben, I think you're famous for it. You really are. The people come, I think, to have the Reuben. They also come for your fried chicken.
They do, yeah.
Same thing.
That's our best seller.
Is it really? Same thing, too. We'll talk about fried chicken, then we'll talk about some of the recognition it's gotten. But fried chicken, is there a secret to great fried chicken that you can share on the air, aside from love?
Well, we use fresh chicken, never frozen, and we soak it for several, hopefully for several days, and some buttermilk and other stuff. And I think I don't know, it's magic.
Is that it? Well, not only
And we make the pickles that go on the sandwich, and we make this, everything we do there, we make ourselves if we can.
Well, not
Just
only,
most everything.
I like how you said that it's magic, but apparently other people are starting to recognize this as well, because I know you've gotten recognition for a couple of sandwiches, but fried chicken has received recognition too in the area, hasn't it?
Sure, yeah. A food reviewer in town, Stu Helm, did a bracket type competition. We came out the winner of that, which was really fantastic and a lot of fun. I think that all of the places involved have great fried chicken sandwiches, but,
Well, I thought that was so cool because, again, you've only been doing it a short while, and some other places have been doing it quite a while, and to win that competition was pretty outstanding.
yeah, it was pretty fantastic. It was great. It was a lot of fun to participate in that.
So people do like your fried chicken.
Oh, yeah.
And so they get that. Now, you don't have to get it on a sandwich, but if they get it on a sandwich, what kind of bread do they get it on?
The fried chicken
Yeah.
sandwich? Well, it comes on a bun generally, but sometimes you can get white wheat rye bread, but that comes on a hamburger bun.
Now, talk to me about that, because people have told me that the bun can also make a difference in terms of where you get it from, or how fresh it is, or do you get your bun?
No, we get them from our regular food service company, and first the first food rep I had helped me source those. They're sort of eggy. They're not quite brioche, but they're good and soft and a little sweet.
Okay, I guess that's the key. It should be soft. Because the worst thing, Jamie, when you have, and I've had this, you get a sandwich, and the bread is not fresh, or it's not soft, and that ruins it. You
Yeah.
can have the greatest, I guess, stuff inside. You surprised me too once. At one time, I think I was eating the corned beef sandwich, and you told me I should try the hamburger. I was saying to myself, how could a hamburger be good, but it's very good? Same question. Is there a secret to a great hamburger?
Well, sure, there's lots of secrets to a good hamburger.
Love, of course.
Right, yeah. And we use good beef, and we make a smash style burger, which is sort of where you cook it and you put it on the surface and sort of let it crisp up a little bit, get nice and seared, and then we fry our cheese.
Okay, is
goes
that it?
on it.
You said, no, but it makes sense. I won't tell the restaurant. We went to a place the other day, and they said we wanted some cheese, and the grill was closed. It was like 1:45. They were still open 15 minutes. And how can the grill be closed? Or, how can you not melt cheese or fry the cheese? But that's really cool. Do you have a choice of cheese?
Yeah, well, we don't have any American cheese available at the Sandhill Kitchen, but we do have Swiss and cheddar and pepper jack. and
You know,
mozzarella most of the time.
the only thing bad about having you as guest on the radio show, Jamie, when I say I'm getting hungry, just talking about this.
Well, breakfast is still going.
I said, okay. So we'll leave here, head over
Yeah,
to your place
yeah,
for
right.
breakfast. Breakfast goes to what?
11 o'clock. And our breakfast is really fantastic. I love it. We have lots of burritos and all kinds of different options.
Yeah, my friend Grant says he loves the.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Grant's
his,
there all the time.
that's his favorite sandwich.
He's one of our regulars.
Okay, the burrito sandwich.
Burrito picante.
So you get to know your regulars, and they
Oh, yeah,
they visit all the time.
they do.
With respect to a couple things, so we talked about your breakfast menu and your lunch menu. Is there anything else that people should think about when they come to your place?
As far as food?
Yeah,
I think the beet sandwich is something that's really great. And a lot of ladies
a beet sandwich.
women love to come order the beet sandwich. It's really good.
How do you make a beet
It's
sandwich?
my friend Kate in Philadelphia gave me this idea for cooking the beets, and so we put a pastrami type spice on them. So it's our regular, we call it love seasoning, and we add some coriander and black pepper and things like that. We roast them in the oven, so the beets really take on those flavors similar to a pastrami. And then we slice them really thin, and then the sandwich has a lemon whole grain mustard sauce with a little Duke's mayonnaise in it, and then our caramelized onions, Swiss cheese, and lettuce. But it's really phenomenal. It's a great sandwich.
So, question that even if you're not a meat eater, there are options for you to have. You said that the beet sandwich would be one. What else do you have?
We have a kitchen sink salad, which is just a large entree. And then we have a grilled cheese, and we do a pepper jack pimento cheese that a lot of vegetarians order. And we do aspire to have more vegetarian items as our business, our client base grows. We definitely have more vegetarians coming in, so we're looking at ways that we can accommodate them a little better.
Also, it's interesting, or it's very exciting to see the growth you've had in the business as well. Again, I remember when I came there just in the beginning, it was just kind of you and, your dad was even helping out. Or
yeah.
Does dad still help out?
He works on the financial side of things for me.
Okay.
Yeah, he takes care of all of it.
Okay.
He's a CFO.
So I think we're back on Facebook Live, or I hope we are. We'll say,
okay.
hey, James. But, okay, so he helps out with the financial thing. That's really cool. But what's been interesting to me when I came in the other day, see the growth of your place. Again, it started out with just kind of you, and there's just a couple people around. How many people do you have working for you now?
Well, 9. Yeah, that includes 3 adults with disabilities that I hire, and then so it's 9 paychecks. All right, yeah.
Do you have how many people do you have at one time working in the place?
It takes us 5 people to get through lunch.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
and it looks pretty busy.
Yeah, we all keep our heads down and work hard. My staff is fantastic. They're the greatest. I have Emily has been with me from the beginning, and then we got Kayla and Brian, Rihanna, Jared, and then we have Anna, Luke, and Robbie, and they're all fantastic.
You remember them
Yeah.
all. But that's really neat too. That I guess you went out of the way, or one of the things you tried to do is hire folks with disabilities.
I do
So-
have a few that come in a few hours a day, 4 days a week I have.
And was that an intentional thing on your part?
It was, yeah, definitely. I first met one of my employees when I was working at the other restaurant that you mentioned, and I became acquainted with the Universal, which is a organization that places people in jobs with coaches, people with developmental disabilities. And so I wanted to continue to work with Anna, and it just sort of grew. The coaches from there came around and said, you want some more folks? And I said, yeah, great. It's a great experience, and I think it's important to, especially in something that is like a restaurant, to seek a little bit higher purpose in your existence and to, help with needs in your community. So that's just something that is special to me that I do.
And the reality too is oftentimes they're very good employees, they're not excellent employees. Because I don't know if they're more motivated or they're focused on the job, but that's really cool that you do that.
Well, thanks. And your next guest has a lot to say about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that as well. Talk also a little bit about your daughter's role in this whole process. Is she your food taster?
Well, she's definitely a fried chicken expert by now, but she's great. She just turned 13, and she's a very patient kid, and she's really helped having the right attitude about, mom being really busy all of a sudden, and she spends a lot of time with my parents, which is like priceless,
Well, it's great. They're just down
And,
the road too, so
yeah,
that works out
yeah.
well too.
And she's getting a little older, so she helps me with caterings. You know, she's done a few events with me over at Biltmore Lake, and yeah, she's
And so
around.
the tasting aspect. So are you folks? Do they do some taste testing for you also?
Yeah, they're my most honest critics.
Will you try different stuff from time to time?
Hmm.
Do you look to do that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we always have a daily special that keeps us like thinking about things, and when things stick, we think of, we know, I keep a record, and maybe we'll add those to our menu in the future. But we do have like a really limited space there, so it's really kind of, there's only so many menu items you can put when you're like in a tiny little 300 square foot place.
Now you mentioned also in your spare time, and I think that I love how we'll talk about all the spare time you have every day. But you also you mentioned you do catering as well. You've done some jobs at Biltmore Lake and in the area. What kind of catering do you do?
Well, I'm trying to steer away from larger weddings and stuff like that, but definitely office type caterings and events. I did a family reunion this past weekend, just provided the food for that, and I'm doing a ladies' luncheon later in the month, and a brunch for some brides that I know. So I'll do things, but I can't do weddings for 300 people.
Well, by the way,
Leave that to the experts.
I'm thinking now that would be an unusual wedding, though, to do a wedding not for 300 people, for 20 people in the gas station.
In the gas station.
Have we done one
yeah.
yet? Then?
No.
Have you had a party in the gas station? Off
Maybe
time?
in the back.
No. I'm saying, wouldn't that be fun? When we
Yeah.
got married, we had a party afterward, an ice cream parlor. You know, we
Yeah,
just brought a whole bunch of people.
yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool. I actually have a friend in Maryland who is going to, at one point, come and do a party there for his wife, and we're going to do a dinner and sell tickets, and he's going to donate that to the place of my choice. But that's a long time in the works.
Oh, that would be so.
I think it's a celebration of their 30th anniversary or something.
I should keep
like
that in mind. You know, that'd
Yeah.
be something different. You know, you've never had a party. And again, I have to get away from it. It's not at the gas station per se, but you say it's, you know, at the gas
Well, it
station.
is. I mean, there's a lot of gas station type activities going on there all the time. A couple weeks ago, there was like 35 Jeep Wranglers there parked. They were going on an expedition together or something, so they were all gathered there.
Did
It's
they
pretty
tell
cool.
Did they tell you in advance they were coming?
No,
That must be,
yeah,
you know, all of
they
a sudden.
didn't all eat, but enough of them to keep us on our toes.
Something else you do too, which is I think very unusual, but also to your credit, is that for a new restaurant, you've been in, I know, a bunch of food competitions. And let's talk a little bit about that process, because that can be, to most people, it would seem to be kind of daunting. You know, all of a sudden, you're competing against people who have been in business a lot of years. Talk about some of the food competitions you were in, aside from the one you mentioned, the fried chicken one. But you were recently in a hamburger one?
I was. It was the Asheville Burger War. Let me get it right. The WNC Battle of the Burger is called. And yeah, there was 12 different competitors in that. It was at the salvage station. And we were asked to be ready for about 750 people. Meals. I think there was probably, I don't know, 1,500, 1,600 people there. It was crazy. Really fun. We had a blast doing it. But yeah, it was a little daunting being around the people with the gorgeous food trucks and having done this many times, you know. But I'm not a stranger to hard work or to organizing things of that nature. So we just got it together and we went out there and we actually won it.
Well, I haven't been to a food competition. Describe then what happens that you get there and you have to make, set up to 1,500 hamburgers or how many, 750, whatever number of hamburgers you make. How do they choose which ones to judge, or they just do that randomly?
Well, they do a blind test, so you know, they give you a heads up, like we're coming by to pick up your burgers. I think it was 5 judges, and so they give you colored plates, and each place has a different colored plate, so that when the judges get it, it's a blind test. And so that's how that worked. And so I don't know, we just got there. And we saw the people coming in. We just started cooking burgers.
Well, I mean, that really is cool. So you have no idea which one they're going to choose. In other words, you just put a.
That's right.
You don't make it special just because it's being judged. Just any burger.
Well, you know the ones you're putting on the plates, yeah. So you can maybe put some care in those. But, I mean, we put care in all of them, so I don't think that theirs were any different than what anybody else got.
How many were judged?
12.
of your burgers?
Five. So
Five.
we sent out 5 burgers. They're all just alike.
And were they all, now, in terms of the competition, were they all the same burger, or did some have different stuff on them? Yeah.
From each place?
Yeah, from each place.
No, each place just did one specific burger.
Their specialty?
Yeah. So every burger that they put out that day was the same as the one before and the one after.
Okay, but that
theory.
really was amazing that, and they announced it that night that you had won?
Yeah, that afternoon, the gentleman judge came by our table, and it was just, I couldn't believe it. He said, my employee Kayla, she said, Jamie, this guy's here saying something like we just won this thing. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. But I was just so proud of my staff and just the whole thing. Like, the whole experience, like, the community's been so good to us and so welcoming. So the whole experience is just every day just mind-blowingly awesome.
Have you entered any other food competitions?
No. Well, I'm in a thing with Stu Helm.
Again? Which one is
It's
this?
pimento cheese.
Oh, okay. Really?
That's
Pimento?
coming up this next month.
Okay, so I have to remember to vote for that too, though. And that's the nice thing about that competition that Stu runs. You can vote more than once. Is that correct? In
Well,
each
I
round.
think this one is a little different. This one is similar to a cheesesteak competition he did that I was in also. And what they do is they come and they pick up they send takeout central to your place, and they pick up the food and take it to wherever the judges are, and then they taste it there. So I'm not sure that there's a choice. What's the word?
Well, choice of.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the community votes on that one. Just
Okay.
the judges. I don't know.
In terms of operating the restaurant, what's your favorite thing about operating the restaurant?
Well, I really like just being part of that little corner of the world. It's really fun, all the different folks that come in, and I love being around my employees. They just really lift me up every day and make me happy.
I'm wrong, but you also are a believer, aside from the hiring of some of the folks you mentioned, you also are a believer in giving back to the community, I believe, and talk a little bit about that.
Well, I try to support the schools and do some donations for events, like fun runs and things like that. Try to sponsor things like that. And I did a little a lunch for Girls Rock Camp this summer, which was really gratifying. We got to go to the concert and see all the girls totally rock. It was great.
I guess that also points out one of the disadvantages of owning a business, though. You all of a sudden become one of the most popular people in town, because I guess for everyone you say yes to, I guess there are 27 other people who want you to support their cause, or...
Yeah, there's a lot of that, but I think that, I think that people are aware that we're a gas station lunch spot. We're not Forbes 500.
But, I love it. But Candler, top 3 or 1 or whatever. But it also points out, too, that, I guess the same thing happens with advertising, that all of a sudden everybody in the world wants to advertise. But again, as a final thing I'll say about your restaurant, is most of the business you seem to have gotten comes, or a lot of it, word of mouth. That people just go there.
Pretty organic. The whole process has been pretty organic. I don't spend a lot on advertising. I do a lot of social media advertising. My mom helps with that a lot.
And we just talked about our guest the second half hour. She just heard about it now, and she'll go to it. Or
Yeah. And one of my favorite things about our regulars is not that we're open on Saturdays and we stay open on holidays sometimes, is they'll come in and they'll bring their whole families, because they eat there while they're working and their families are working elsewhere. So then when they get a chance, they bring in their families. That's one of my favorite things.
Jamie, if anybody wants to get more information about Sand Hill Kitchen, best
Specials on there every day, and on Instagram or at our website, which is sandhillkitchen.com.
Okay, and again, just drive by and again look.
It's inside the BP gas station on the corner of Sardis and Sandhill Roads, 491 Sardis Road.
Okay, if you look for it, it's to the left. You will find it.
If you walk in there, you just follow your nose, you'll find it.
Jamie, thanks very much for being our guest
Thank
this
you for
first
having
half
me.
hour
I
on the
appreciate
BLAINESWORLD
it.
Show, and we will see you, I am sure, soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Be well. Speak to you soon. Okay, Jamie's working her way out of the studio. Let me just mention announcements. One concerns a public service announcement we do each week, and that's, let me see if I can find it. We want to thank the people who help us out on the radio show. I think I have that somewhere here, but as I'm looking for it, yeah, we'll recognize the French Broad Food Co-op, a locally owned grocery store focusing more on people than profits, providing living wage, supporting local farmers and products, and being community owned. More information can be found on the web at French Broad Co-op. I'd also like to recognize two local theater productions happening in the Asheville area. We try to mention a couple of those each week. The first I'm anxious to see is going to be Hamlet, being presented by Montford Park. They always do a great job, and that starts this, I can't believe it's this weekend, September 7th, running through September 23rd. Show times are 7:30, Friday and Saturday, and Sundays as well. For more information, www.montfordparkplayers.org. In addition, look to catch 5 women wearing the same dress this coming weekend, Friday and Saturday at 7:30, Sunday at 2:30. That's hosted by 35 Below and Alpha Psi Omega at USSC. For more information, ashevilletheater.org and theater with an R-E. It's next my pleasure to introduce you to my second guest of the BLAINESWORLD show, and she is somebody I'm proud to call a friend, and she is Michell Louzon. And welcome aboard, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I'd like to mention that Michelle is this amazing woman who is the founder and executive director of Arms Around ASD, a nonprofit center which provides service for people on the autism spectrum, their family members, caregivers, and professional support staff, regardless of age, ability, or income. She lives in North Asheville with 3 cats, 2 grown sons, when either of them is in town, and 1 husband. Is he a grown husband also?
He is full grown.
Okay. In her spare time, she practices, I like this, in your spare time, Michelle, she practices Taekwondo at Asheville Sun Tzu, where she has 2nd-degree black belt. I just love seeing the video clips recently that I as I wrote on Facebook, I said, this is somebody I'm not going to mess with, you know. But it's pretty cool. You were just chopping boards left and right.
That's part of the testing. Not my favorite part, but the part that I really loved was the in-close self-defense.
Okay, well, it's just so much fun to watch you. And I see you, when I see you on YouTube clips, I'm saying to myself, how does this woman, you know, how do you even get into that? But anyway, let's not talk about, we'll come back to that if we have time, but let's talk about Arms Around ASD. Great organization. You've been in business, you've been around for how long now?
We're in our 4th year.
Okay, 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I remember way back when. And for the benefit of the folks who don't know what Arms Around ASD is, what is it?
Okay, so the elevator speech, which is basically what you just said, Arms Around ASD provides holistic services for people on the autism spectrum, their families, their caregivers, their professional support staff, regardless of age, ability, or income. But what we really are is so much more. We're a place of unconditional love and acceptance. We celebrate neurodiversity and appreciate each person for where they're at that point in time.
And how did you get involved in this in the first place?
So it all started with a boy and a dog, as all things do, right?
A boy and a dog, okay.
So the boy was 8 at the time, and he's 14 now. And he was spending the day with us while his parents were at work. And that weekend, we also happened to have a rescue dog, a foster dog, just for the weekend. The dog was going to her forever home with her own boy and mom on that Monday. So Josie, the beagle, who was a year old, was very interested in the boy and everything that he was doing. And I was fascinated by this little dog who wanted so very much to make a connection with this particular human. And that experience stayed tucked in the back of my brain for about a year until I finally acted on it.
And I remember, too, when you and I first met, I think, through, it was Asheville Score,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was your first interest. You wanted some program helping the autism community with animals. I think that was your first interest in the field. Then you evolved off that.
Right. So when I first conceived of the program, it had a different name. It was Pause on ASD, but it did have the mission to state the family as a whole. We started out in my basement, where we worked for 2 years. We had 3 providers providing 3 separate services and 2 families total of 7 people. As of today, we have around 35 volunteers who provide 28 unique services, and we service, well, there are 300 people approximately on our list. So we had originally planned to see families with children on the spectrum and then have a center dog that was part of the therapies. My cats were not thrilled about the dogs that we brought in. So that part of the program went by the wayside. And also it just didn't feel right. It didn't work well. So now that we're out of the basement and we're in our own suite of offices, we're able to bring in lots of different animals. We've had, in addition to mammals, the usual, I mean, we've had goats, we've had ball pythons, birds of all sorts, lots of different animals come in, and it's this beautiful experience. Anyway, we also widened our focus from children and families, so just children and families, to people of all ages and their families and their caregivers and their professional support staff. So anyone who's part of this autism community. And then there was the shift in the services that we provided. In the beginning, it was just, not just, but it was self-care things like massage, just as an example. Then we added services that help develop executive function skills. So I had been at a Autism Society of North Carolina conference, also known as ASNC, and I heard about some research about adulthood on the spectrum. And the bottom line of the study was that those who had developed these executive function skills or daily living skills were more successful in life. Success being defined as not just getting a job, but keeping it.
Let's talk, Michelle, about something else you said, which I think is part of the amazing story behind your facility, is that it's certainly for people on the spectrum, but I didn't really think it's important to help people who support these people. You know that, and you never think about it, but the mothers, the aunts, the grandmothers, the grandfather, whatever, that's a tough existence. It can be tough.
Right, and teachers, other professional support staff like one-on-ones, mentors, helpers. So being a parent, caring for somebody, being a human is a tough job. Being somebody on the spectrum, being a caregiver for somebody on the spectrum, a one-on-one, that's an even harder job. And we need to refill our cups. We need to replenish. I use the analogy a lot. You have to put on your oxygen mask first.
It's a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about replenishing these folks or putting on the oxygen mask first, what do you do for them in terms of, a neighbor recently went to your facility she was very impressed with. How do you help these folks, the caregivers?
Okay, so all of the services that we provide, well, at least the majority of the 28 services, there's maybe 1 or 2 that's not appropriate for adults or, well, caregivers. So everything that we do is for everybody, if that makes any sense. So I like to say we do everything from acupuncture to Zumba, A to Z.
I love it.
Yep. So 28 different services, including things like yoga and pet therapy and the psychology. And those are the things, the self-care pieces like acutonics, reflexology, massage, that's one way to fill their cups. And the other way is with some of the other classes and individual treatments, which also serve another purpose, the owning of the executive function skills, things like yoga and meditation and movement dance. We even have a stop motion animation creation workshop that serves that. But that's, yeah, again, for everybody.
And what's cool, as you said, the workshops or the programs, other than the individual stuff, massages are one-on-one, but it's the population can be both people who have are on the spectrum, but also the caregivers. It's not isolated. They're not separate things. You have to be on the spectrum or you have to be a caregiver. You can mix the two together.
Right. And even have our teens that come in, friends, share their experiences. We have this great Tai Chi class and also Tai Yi, which is very similar to Tai Chi. And yeah, they've brought their friends and it's fantastic.
One of the things that I admire about you, Michelle, is also say no. I mean, at some point in time, you may have to get to the point, but I want to thank you on the air for involving my friend Judy Ray, also involving the beautiful bride, that you and said they had this idea. Would you be interested? And the fact the answer was yes. Without even worrying about the details. Details, I guess, came later. But you seem to constantly be adding to your litany of what you do.
Well, this is true. I have been really fortunate that the people who come to me and suggest services that they would like to provide as volunteers have been extraordinary. So I check services first to make sure that this seems like a reason that will have benefits and are done in the most professional manner and the highest quality. So yes, I do say yes a lot, but I've been, again, fortunate that everyone that's come to me has brought the most amazing things.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we're talking about my friend Judy Ray, and when I first heard about it, I had never heard about it. Healing touch, yet it's a helpful process for people who go through it, and it's a great process.
Right. So, we live in Asheville, and Asheville can be a little woo-woo, and we embrace the woo-woo at Arms Around ASD. A lot of, we have a sound healing modality called acutonics. We have the caring for caregivers that Judy and Cynthia, your beautiful bride, do for our clients. That's a 2-on-1 energy healing work. We have Reiki. And as somebody who has received the caring for caregivers, it is completely on the level. I walk out feeling like I am floating on air, and I call it a half-hour reboot.
And that's interesting you say that, because I think that's the real key, that open to trying, that not just people on the autism spectrum, not just the caregivers, but all of us, and some things might be good for one person, but maybe something else. Like, I can't believe that certain people don't like massage. How can you not like massage? But it's not for everybody. And so I guess through the center, you encourage people to be open to trying different things.
Absolutely. And because we have so many different things to choose from, to be one thing that somebody would enjoy. But you're right. There's people think that folks on the spectrum do not like to be touched. or don't like massage. But in reality, you know, they're like anyone else. Some like it, some don't. And you know, I've actually had more of the family members not be interested in the massage part than the folks on the spectrum.
Yeah. It's funny because, yeah, my dad never liked it. And I said, how can you not like massage? Or a friend of ours doesn't like reflexology because his feet are ticklish, but reflexology is not, you're not tickled, but it's just, you have to be open to it
Right.
as well. The another thing too that just people trying, Cynthia I know is teaching a course, Move Your Body. And what's interesting about it, as you said, the wide range of people she gets in it. You know, some people are really into it, some people are not, but they come out. And I guess that's very exciting for you as the executive director of this facility, when you see somebody try something and then they are open to trying other things. And do you see growth with some of your clients?
Oh, absolutely. So Cynthia is a remarkable human, as you know. And I just want to say publicly that I love that you refer to her as your bride, because you two act like you're still newlyweds. It is beautiful to watch. You love and revere her so much. And clearly, the reason is she is amazing on so many levels. So she is, as you said, one of those people who just contacted me. I would like to give of my time. And she provides 3 services at Arms Around ASD. Is as well, people feel fantastic when they leave. But the cool thing about it, because it's a dance and movement class, again, with the honing those executive function skills. But even if that's not something that you're working on, the class is just this freedom, joyous experience to move as you see fit without somebody giving you, you know, she gives a slight direction, but you don't have to do it. You can just go in there and be you.
That was cool. I think about some of the people who walk through your doors, that they're encouraged to try something, but they don't have to do it. You know, if they don't like it, that's okay. Let's try something else too. Do you have other people provide more than one service? I'm trying to think of
I think Judy is the only one.
too. Yeah.
I mean, Cynthia is the only one.
And-
Judy provides one service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody is listening to the show, or they'll say on the Facebook Live, which I understand now is working, and they want to get involved, do you welcome volunteers coming on board?
Oh, absolutely.
How do you use your volunteers?
How do we use them?
Yeah, I mean, they can offer a service if they want, but what else can they do?
So recently I put out a call on Facebook because we need things like social media, somebody to handle the social media, public relations, and, well, shoot, I can't remember the last thing. But in addition, okay, so our bathroom just got a facelift. So
I
one
saw
of,
that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I saw that on Facebook.
yeah, so one of our volunteers who occasionally does some social skills group work, her name is Gwen Frederick. She has been learning how to hang wallpaper. And so she said, oh, I'll do this for you. And so we got in this weekend and we painted and primed and got everything ready. And then she hung the wallpaper. There are and there's always cleaning.
You mentioned, for example, we just lost our Facebook connection, unfortunately, but you mentioned before the social media, you put out a call. Did you get people to come on board?